Hey there guys, we're going to be going back to the consumed Omega spawn for a little bit of a cheaper clear as opposed to the first video that I posted on day one. So the missions are no continues, 3 turns or less, and no deaths. The 3 turns or less one is the one that's obviously going to be a little bit tricky. So just to recap, it's a dragon machine weak to lightning or water, lower defense, and it does man-eater, which is mostly ignorable. So this is the party we're going to be using. Now, I did try to make like extremely cheap units work, and it didn't work. They weren't getting the 3-turn clear in. So in order to do a 3-turn clear, we have to raise the power level a little bit. So I decided we're going to do this with the premium Tifa. That being said, Tifa is more than a year old at this point, and EX2 is totally fine. You do not need EX3. We are not using Tifa's card. We're not using like premium cards. We're not using premium, special gear and all that. We're using relatively cheap gear and, cheaper units. And again, Tifa is a year old, and she's not the only option that works. Obviously, you can use way better options like Chizuru or Esther, stuff like that. Those units will kill this boss incredibly easily and don't need a guide. The only other maybe questionable unit to call a budget unit would be Kaito. That being said, the anniversary just came out and gave people, I think, 2 Neovisions of choice. If you've been watching my channel, or pretty much anyone's channel, following Reddit, following Discord, etc., pretty much everyone has been saying, if you don't own Kaito, get Kaito. So I'm going with the assumption that you have followed the advice that guide makers, including myself, have given you. If you have ignored my advice to pick Kaito with your free ticket, then you're not listening to my advice, so why are you watching my guide? But anyway, here's the party we're going to do with the 3-turn clear, and we're not going to use Kaito for damage, by the way. An EX0 Kaito, totally fine. EX0 is all you need. As you see, he is completely naked. He is just here for buffing. So one single Kaito at EX0 is perfect. Anyway, let's get the clear in real quick. Okay, so we're going to use Shoreline Fina and Daisy once the boss finishes his auto buffing. Shoreline Fina and Daisy are going to Splash Fight for mitigation and Nereid's Kiss for more mitigation. She's auto covering with, that's what she does. Kaito is going to use both his cooldowns for Water Amplify, Water, and then not Demon, Machine and Dragon Killer. And then we'll just do Aqueous Infusion just to imperil the boss. Cacteria is going to triple. We're going to do Sacred Oasis. We're going to do Thorny Teamwork to Fist Imperil. And we're going to do Big Defense Buff for 89% defense break. Aerith's going to start in the base form, then go to the shift form. We're going to use her LB, and then shifted Tifa's LB right away on turn 1. Make sure you click Aerith first, but you want to chain them together as if you were chaining a pair of duplicates. Just make sure Aerith is the first person clicked in her shift form. That way Tifa gets the buffs from Aerith's shifted LB. And shifted Aerith's LB is a perfect match to Tifa's LB in the shift form. So here we go. Now we're not going to do a ton of damage turn 1 because Tifa's LB is a stacking LB. It'll do more damage the second use. So here's the magic attacks that are going to hit Daisy. Kind of whatever. Like I said in my previous video, it hits humans harder than non-humans. But again, basically irrelevant. We took like no damage. So that was totally fine. So now we're going to use Tifa to use her Magnus to refill her LB and then just hit the boss twice. Now we need to also refill Cacteria and Aerith. I have given them a ton of fill rate gear, so hopefully we can get some drops on them. So let's just hit the boss a few times with these guys. And, we can also use Shoreline Fina and Daisy to do Healing Ripples for even more LB fill. So there we go. Their LBs are nice and good. So we can use Cacteria to do her base form LB. That's a bigger Fist Imperil. And then Aerith can just guard. We just needed her LB to perfect chain again with Tifa next turn. So here's some physical attacks, but we miraged them thanks to Kaito. And that's it. We're done. So now Aerith is going to shift at LB again, and Tifa will shift at LB again. Again, we're going to chain them together. At this point, it doesn't matter who you click first because Tifa already has Aerith's buffs. but you know, whatever. You could also, if you wanted to, you could very easily like chain the base form LB of Kaito and use Cacteria's triple bolting strike to match him and get a ton more damage. We don't need that, so we're gonna go ahead and just chain these guys up. And again, Tifa's second LB hits way harder, so there is the finale of the dragon in 3 turns. I'm going to show you the gear while we're in the menu so we can skip some loading. So Kaito, literally completely naked, all he does is his receding tide. This is a 150 machine and dragon killer, and he does swelling current, which is a 45% water amplify for the party. And also he does mirage for turn 2. That's it. He's a water support. You could probably replace him with like Leviathan Nicole as well. But again, I would assume everyone has Kaito at this point because he was given for free from the Anniversary Select ticket that we just got. And if you didn't already own Kaito, you should have owned Kaito at this point. So here we go. Shoreline Fina and Daisy are just using some bulk, relatively cheap gear. I did use one STMR with the Shy Mermaid, but she took like 10% of her health, so I definitely overgeared. So just give her some bulk, and there you go. You could also replace her with literally any magical cover tank you want, and just cover it. Cacteria is using a lot of LB fill rate, just so we can get her LB on turn 2. And even if you don't, it's probably not even that important, but her LB is a 35% fist in peril, which is why I wanted to do that. So there we go. Aerith and Red are again using a lot of fill rate, so fill rate, LB per turn, not bothering with the card, and just the same reason, so that we can perfect chain with Tifa a little bit easier. And the reason she's chosen is because her LB is a 400 stat buff and a 250 LB buff, but more importantly, it perfect chains with Tifa. Now we're going dual wield build. I could have forced double hand and make it work, but that would require more STMRs. So we're just going with a plain old dual wield build. We are using double crescent earring, but that's her own STMR, so hopefully you have that. Some killers, dragon and machine, and then again a generic cheap card. If you have her own card or a good card like, you know, Knight's Grand Shell or the new Banner Hyo card, by all means use it. Maxed LB, maxed dragon, and maxed machine killer. And honestly, maybe I could not build her double hand build. I didn't even try, because I do know forcing double hand on Tifa is pretty hard to do. It needs really, really powerful gear. But whatever, the dual wield build worked fine. So there was the cheaper run, kind of a budget run. It is using a premium unit, but she is, like I said, way more than a year old at this point. So yeah, hope it helps. But again, Chizuru, Esther, a well-geared Kaito, all of these units kill it incredibly easy. Dragon Knight Baran from the Dragon Quest collaboration, again. Hero Dai probably also destroys this super, super easy. Just use your favorite water or thunder DPSer and have at it. Hope it helps. See you next time.